Oh, hey, ho guys, it is Season 7. It has started. Week 1 of the GBA is upon us, and we drew a difficult opponent in Week 1. We drew Chimpact, the Philadelphia Scizors, as one of our cross-conference games, the other one I think being George, so I really got hit on the cross-conference games this season, but yeah, so last season I believe we lost 0-5, sounds correct, and looking to, everyone's got a clean slate though this season, and hoping to start off 1-0. And yeah, there's so Gen 7 now, right? And there's like differences in how the battle starts up from how it was in Gen 6. So I'm still kind of getting used to like how I go about this pre-game stuff. If you've been watching the Zirconian Battle Syndicate games, which are currently kind of on hiatus because people's computers blew up, yeah, we kind of started experimenting. There's going to be some differences, though, between this and that. So we'll see. One of the things I have to do is, well, I think the order we're going with is I will tell you his team, which you can also see in the description. We will go over what I brought, and then we'll actually see which 6 he brought. So his team that he drafted is Black Kyurem, Thundurus Incarnate, which is his Z Crystal user, Azumarill, Forretress, Volcanion, Silvally, Ditto, Dugtrio, Claydol, Alomomola, and Rotom Cut Mogai. So here's what we have. We have Zapdos, Reuniclus, Breloom, Klefki, Closter, and Swellow. So, as for the specifics of what each set is, we have Subrustos, because it's Subrustos, and it's like the best set from Gen 4, so clearly that's what we're going to bring. That's not necessarily why I'm bringing it, but I'd be lying if I said it wasn't a factor. It's certainly one of my favorite sets for it. We are especially defensive because he does have another electric flying, an inferior electric flying, in my opinion. So we're going to attempt to prove that in this game. We have a little bit of speed EVs in there just to make sure we outspeed a modest Volcanion, because I feel like Volcanion is probably Spexed, mostly because last season Fizz at some point mentioned the only good set is Spexed, so whenever I see Volcanion, I assume it's going to be Spexed. So there's that. I don't actually think Volcanion would run max speed, much less modest, with Specs, but just in case I certainly don't want to have those taking a modest max special attack, Specs, Steam Eruption to the face. I'm very invested in special defense, but I don't want to be taking that anyway. We have T-Bolt and Toxic. T-Bolt because I don't really care to discharge para anybody, and I would definitely want to be hitting things like Aloe and Volcanion, just talked about him, as hard as I possibly can. And Toxic is mostly there because Black Kyurem is a easy all day, switch in to Zapdos, and I don't like that at all. Also, Black Kyurem, you know, the Pokemon with like 170 whatever attack, obviously, my most feared set is a sub-roost, like, defensive one, so I want to get that Toxic, because, you know, that's what I fear from pokes that have 170 whatever base attack. Reuniclus is kind of running, I guess Necrozma has kind of monopolized this set now, but we banned Necrozma, so Reuniclus is able to run it as well. I decided to roll whatever. We're going all in on double boost Reuniclus this week, which is, if you watch his team builder, seems like it would be a bad idea. But by double boost, I mean Calm Mind and Acid Armor, and of course Recover. And then Psychic as the only attack, which means hopefully he doesn't bring Silvally Dark, hopefully he doesn't bring Trick, hopefully he doesn't bring Taunt. All of which could very well possibly come. The odd bit is that we are Regenerator instead of Magic Guard, which you would expect to be Magic Guard. There were a couple of reasons for this. Firstly being that I didn't see anything that I thought really wanted to bring Toxic. It's certainly a possibility, but it's also because that way if I have to throw Reuniclus out there and, you know, maybe he takes a hit, or like I try to set up and I'm like, whoops, uh-oh, I can't set up yet, and I got Reuniclus kind of dinged. That means I can just bring him back, and I can basically, it allows me to reset and try again later, so if I try to go in too early and then mess up, I get another chance via Regenerator, and we'll see if that ends up to be good or bad. For Breloom, it really hurt my heart to not bring Spore, Substitute, Focus Punch, Breloom, the classic Xerxes set from 4th gen. But unfortunately, Forretress is kind of a weird guy who may or may not be immune from Spore, and I'm certainly going to have to lean that he will be immune from Spore, so I'm not going to bring Spore. So instead, we're just the very boring Jolly Max Speed Tech Loom to make sure we don't get outsped by Volcanion. And we have pretty much the typical Tech Loom fare. We have Mach Punch, which is going to do tremendous amounts of damage to Black Kyurem. If it gets a little bit of chip damage on it, then we'll be able to knock it out. We have Rock Tomb. Yes, that's the one that works with Technician and 60 base power. So it does work with Tech and it also lowers speed. And then Bullet Seed, which I feel like Loom is one of the few users of the multi-hit moves that goes Tech over Skill Link, because there's not many that get Tech and multi-hit moves that are good. We do have another Skill Link user on the team, but yeah, Loom can get up to ridiculous amounts of power if he hits in all the Bullet Seeds. So regardless, should be enough to kill Azu, should be enough to kill Alomomola, because he has 3 water types on his team, so that's a thing. Yeah, that's Loom, not too high technical despite being Technician, so there we go. Klefki, I think, was actually the last thing added to the team. He is here because he resists both of Black Kyurem stabs, and that's good. He is weak to Earth Power, but we are specially defensive, and I could have gone Magnet Rise, but I decided, I feel like if I Magnet Rise, he's just going to, like, go into somebody else, and then I'm going to have to go into somebody else, or, like, he's going to predict Magnet Rise and go into somebody, I don't know. Regardless, I was like, alright, whatever. Light Screen, at least, you know, I can throw that up, and now I'm at least not weak to Earth Power, it's just hitting me neutrally. So, there is that. Spikes is on there. I don't expect Spikes to stay up. It's mostly just if I have a turn with Klefki, because Klefki can't really do a whole lot. That was sort of my gripe with bringing Klefki, is it's kind of a momentum killer. I can't bring Prankster T-Wave because that does absolutely nothing to Thundurus, so, which is like the main thing that I would want to get paralyzed, and obviously I can't do that. So Klefki's just like kind of a momentum, like, I just lose out pacing. So if I can cash one of Klefki's turns in for a Spikes, maybe even a Suicidal Spikes, maybe that forces Forretress to come in and spin at some point, and I basically get to, you know, cash that turn, stock it up, and then cash the free turn in later. So that's really all I'm going for with Spikes. If we get some damage out of it, cool. Closter is back from Season 2, and back running the classic Season 2 set, which was Choice Scarf. I actually do not have Icicle Spear because 3 water types, so I can't imagine myself actually clicking Icicle Spear. Instead, we do have Rock Blast. Hopefully it doesn't miss too often. It is basically Stone Edge, but that'll still go through Thundurus hopefully well enough. If we can get, at least if we can get a little bit of damage on there. Maybe one of them will crit. It does hit 5 times. And it should also be able to deal a decent chunk to Volcanion and some other guys. What else do we have? I can't quite recall why I have Ice Shard. It may just be for, I think maybe it was for Agility Thundurus? Possibly. I think there was somebody else. There was totally somebody else. No, I don't think I outspeed no, that doesn't make any sense. Maybe? Maybe it was Dugtrio. I don't think I outspeed Dugtrio, because I am adamant, so, but I can't switch moves because I'm scarfed, so, whatever. I think it was just as a, oh crap, Agility Thundurus thing, just in case. So there is that. No, I think I have Poison Jab for Azumarill, does a little bit more, slightly, and, is 100% accurate, so there's that too. I don't expect to click it. Honestly, I only expect to click Rock Blast. I think I do have Rapid Spin just in case I really need to sacrifice Cloyster for a spin. Cloyster is, as you know, not a great spinner, but in a pinch he can at least provide the utility before he dies. At least with the Scarf set. So, brings us to our last round pick, which is Swellow. So Swellow is bringing Guts and Protect to make sure we get the Flame Orb activated, though I would like to ideally bring him in a situation where I can just, like, go ahead and go for a hit in some form or fashion, instead of, you know, letting him Protect and switch into something, because I don't actually have U-turn, so that's kind of a problem. Maybe not. Of course we do have Facade. We do have, I believe he mentioned in his team builder, he expected Heat Wave on it, and indeed I did pack Heat Wave on Swellow here for Forretress, because that is his only normal resist. And I believe it actually I bred for Naive, and I think I actually, like, completely lucked into one that had 31 all, so cool. I was just going to, you know, get a 531 one, and then level it to 100 and Lissy bases, and then Hyper Train the one that was missing, but we just ended up to get one that was 31 all, so cool. So that worked out just fine. What else do we have? We have Protect, as I mentioned. I was bouncing between Quick Attack and Steel Wing. Steel Wing would only be for Silvally Rock. Quick Attack, I think, was for Dugtrio Sucker Punch. as well as a emergency, like somebody got a speed boost up, like I guess again an agility Thundurus, or some other stuff like that. So in the end I was like, alright, fine, I guess it's, in order for Steel Wing to be at all useful, he has to bring Silvally and it has to bring Rock Memory, so we'll see if he does or not. But Quick Attack is what I decided to go with instead. So that is the team, and now this is awkward because I can't see what this team is, but I wrote it down. So he brought Forretress, Azumarill, Silvally, Black Kyurem, Thundurus, and Volcanion. So who am I going to lead with is the quick question we're just going to answer right quick here. And we're just going to lead off with the, like kind of not actually the mascot, but kind of the perennial captain who I am so glad to have back. And because one of the things is I don't really want Thundurus to get any sort of like jump on anybody. So if it is going to be a Thundurus lead, I would prefer to have Zapdos out there. And I just realized I didn't talk about who I didn't bring. But yeah, I didn't bring Manaphy because it can't really do anything to Volcanion, and Thundurus exists. And I didn't bring Hippo because Hippo doesn't enjoy grass knots from Thundurus, although it can actually tank them. I did not apparently do proper calculations, but at the same time, there's also Volcanion, there's also Black Kyurem, who have stab, super effective moves to Hippo, and Hippo doesn't like that, so Hippo unfortunately had to stay home this week, which meant no Stealth Rock, which is sad, because he did bring 3 things that are weak to Rock, but oh well. So anyway, that is the team, and what he brought, and hopefully we did this decently, and we can get into the battle right now. Alright, we're going to see if we can get this done in one take, because it's Sunday morning, because I like to live dangerously. Anyway, we have character customization back in Sun and Moon, which automatically makes me, like, not hate Wi-Fi battles nearly as much as I did with Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. Chimp is apparently the greatest of all time, and is going to lead out with not the greatest electric flying of all time, which is Thundurus, so that's going to be good. Black Kyurem lead would have probably been the worst versus Zapdos, but we're going to kick up the speed now, because you guys know how we like to play long games. So I am Sped F, and I am a Zapdos, so I'm going, and that is not a Thundurus Therian form. So I'm just going to stay in here and click Thunderbolt. I'm definitely interested in going ahead and getting some kind of damage on the thing and gauging what it wants to be. And he T-bolts me, does about maybe, 40%, and leftovers comes, and he does not have leftovers on the thing, so after that, after the first turn, we see Zapdos is sitting pretty okay, and Thundurus is getting to it KO'd, so cool. I doubt he'll stay in, but his most likely switch is probably to Black Kyurem, which I would like to get a little bit of damage on to, up the odds of the Mach Punch KO. And with that, that's looking like a probable Mach Punch KO, at least if he's not very physically defensive, so cool. Part of me right here is like, oh man, I'd really like to just stay in and go for Toxic, but no, that's just silly. I have a Klefki. I would like to get Klefki, I'd like to get Black Kyurem Toxic, but I believe I have Toxic on, yes, I believe I have Toxic on Klefki. So, whatever, I'll just switch into Klefki, it'll do something, hopefully it doesn't set up a sub. If it does set up a sub, then I guess I can foul play it until I break a sub, and then I can get it Toxic, and, that'll be whatever. So it does a lot of damage with the Ice Beam there, and I see no Life Orb, so that means it is probably going to be Choice Specs. So cool. I'm still interested in getting it Toxic anyway, because it'll be additional damage. If he switches, it'll be damage on somebody who comes in, unless I guess it's Fori, which may well happen, and that's actually one of the reasons I wasn't super feeling Klefki this week, but it's done its job right now. So, it ends up to not be Fori, though. I lied, I didn't use Toxic, I used Light Screen. And that was just in case I completely botched the calc and Earth Power happened, or I guess if this guy came in. So now I'm, like, not weak to fire, so that's cool. We're going to go into Reuniclus here, I believe, and who should be able to take special hits from Guy pretty well, and hopefully start setting up combines, and maybe we'll just go in forward early. I mentioned I had Regenerator on there so I could, give it a shot in the early game, and then, if I mess up or something goes wrong, I can switch out, get Regenerator, and stuff will be alright. So yeah, so we take still a pretty decent chunk from that Flamethrower, and that means this guy's probably Specs as well. So starting off the season for the Scizors with couple of Choice Specs users. And I think we're gonna, do I pull Calm Mind here? No, I believe I actually go Acid Armor. Yes, I think I go Acid Armor first, and the reason why is I don't want Bandit Azu to come in with a knockoff, which it's, we'll see whether it's Bandit or not later on, but I believe I do opt for that there, since it's not going to be a 2-hit KO. or well, it seems like it will be now, because he gets Flamethrower Burn. Now, the Flamethrower Burn, as he also there sees that I'm not Magic Guard, therefore I must be Regenerator, because I'm not crazy and running Overcoat. The Flamethrower Burn seems like a, oh man, that sucks, but you'll see why it, you'll see. You'll see later, whether or not it was actually that notable or not. But at the very least, it does negate our Leftovers. Thankfully, it's not doing actual damage over time because Leftovers is negating it. But yeah, now the whole thing about having Regenerator and needing to switch out because I kind of botched the whole setup thing because I didn't click Calm Mind right there. Instead I went Acid Armor. So we're going to switch back into Dose, who hopefully will take a Flamethrower pretty well as I am Spadef. And thanks to the Light Screen, we take it well enough. So we certainly threaten with an electric move here, and I think I really have little reason not to go for it. The alternative is that we could either go electric move or we can go sub, or we can go Roost, and but definitely not. Well, Toxic could honestly be okay because he's not switching in other thing. But anyway, since I don't want to mess with Volcanion for too long because my light screen turns are kind of about to wear off, I believe I decide to go Thunderbolt here. Yes. So that will now definitely get Black Kyurem to where Breloom will be able to take it out with a knockoff. So Black Kyurem's not going to go on a crazy sweep or anything like that because we do have Technaloom hanging out ready to do stuff. So this is now the second time this has happened, and we're going to see he's going to expect the double back into Klefki, or whatever, goes back into Klefki, because I wanted to keep playing safe, and now this guy's here. And at this point, I think around this time, I'm trying to sack Klefki off. I want to sack Klefki off, maybe throw up a light screen right here, and then we'll go from there and do something. So I'm thinking about clicking Spikes, but I figure, well, whatever. I can light screen, and I'm not weak to Flamethrower, so I shouldn't actually kill me even... Well, I'm not. I'm actually pretty close to full. Anyway, light screen. I'm basically not weak to Flamethrower, and it's still gonna do a tremendous amount. But I calculated I would live, and indeed I did. And so now I'm continuing to try to sack Klefki, and got a couple of things I can do. I think I just opt for. Do I opt for a layer of spikes, or is that later? That may be later. But yeah, right here I'm just gonna stay in and try to let Klefki go down, and then somebody can come in and hopefully something can happen. Or do I? I believe it. Toxic? I think I know I use I'm pretty sure I use Toxic. I believe I use Toxic here. So we were chewing because that's right. Emote strips are back. Emote strips are back. We do miss a Toxic, which the thing is fairly low, so Toxic probably doesn't matter too much. I suppose it would allow me to do sub-roosty stuff on it with Zapdos, which would be nice, but there's still a pretty good chance that it packs Taunt, so that probably wasn't going to be a thing anyway. So since Thunderbro likes to, pack Taunt and will out-prioritize my thing, I just decided to go into Dose, predicting a Taunt, and that is indeed what he goes for, as we get some Leftovers recovery back, and now we're free to T-Bolt this, and I believe I actually do T-Bolt it, despite the fact that he's gone into Black Kyurem multiple times. I believe I just do no, this turn I decide, alright, he's going to go back in the Black Kyurem because he's done it the last 2 times, and I guess I just think he won't break the pattern, because there's nothing else that really wants to switch in and take a T-Bolt, so sure. So we're going to actually go into Klefki here. So he got the double on me last time, and I believe, oh no, actually he goes into, not Black Kyurem, he goes into this thing. So I probably could have stayed in. I checked the bottom screen, I think it may pop, yeah, it pops it up right there, but I checked the bottom screen because that way I can check right away, to confirm that it is Silvally Rock. And that means that Swallow is not going to be able to kill it nearly as effectively as I would have liked. So we still are chilling here at a decent amount of HP. I'm going to apply a Toxic on there, which is, Silvally still has pretty decent bulk. It's still 95 around, so if it may be bulky, it may not be, but it is Rock type, which makes me think defense, but I don't know, because Rock type is also pretty good offensively against Zapdos. But we'll see. So the walled city of Ba Sing Se comes in. And again, I'm still trying to sack Klefki off. It's gotten almost back to half HP. So I guess I can say this is kind of the matchup where I kind of can't do anything. So yeah. Where do I go from here? So we switch out. Yeah, just go back in the Dose because I want to get Dose in before Stealth Rock comes up. And instead he just Volt switches, which means that probably Black Kyurem's going to come right back in. That also means that we're just going to go right back into Klefki, and thankfully neither of us have hazards up right now. I only have spikes. He's got probably at least 1 or 2 before he. So This time I decided to go back into Klefki, either sacking it or apparently living on very low amounts, and now I'll definitely be able to get it dead because he can just stay in and kill it. Assuming he doesn't mind taking a prankster or something or other, which I believe I decide to do spikes. I could set up light screen again, but I opt for spikes right here because I want to get some hazards up like I mentioned before. I want Forry to have to spin at some point and basically cash that turn in at a later time. That's going to be, more opportune for somebody else who is not Klefki, who's not really doing too much offensively right here. But he's doing his job supporting the team, throwing up light screens, and keeping Volcanion from kicking our butts. So good job, Klefki. You finally did what you need to do, which was after you did some stuff to set us up. And now we have some offensive stuff to go into somebody. Breloom is the most immediately threatening thing, though I feel like that'll probably telegraph Technaloom, but at the same time, he's got Rock-type Silvally, and Thundurus can't take 2, and he's not switching in Azumarill, and I feel like he probably wouldn't go for it, maybe. So we Mach Punch, pick up the KO on Black Kyurem, and awesome. I think he told me after the game he did not expect me to bring Mach Punch Loom, or Mach Punch Titan Loom. There we go, get some more emote strips. Good job, Breloom. Picking up your first KO since probably Season 2. Maybe Season 1, I'm not sure. I don't know, you probably got some KOs in Season 5 that I didn't watch, so... Anyway, good job, Breloom. I was kind of surprised at myself that I brought Technician Breloom because that didn't exist in 4th Gen, so... Anyway, so Loom's chilling here, picked up a KO, good job, and he's gonna go into this guy. I believe I can actually two-shot this with Mach Punch, but so it can't switch in, but I'm obviously not gonna be killing it from here. T-Bolt I will probably survive due to, resistance, but HP Ice is probably not gonna be survived, so since Ice is, very common for electric flying dudes, I'm thinking maybe he wants to go HP Ice, so I calc actually a Psychic would be more effective than that. It does get Psychic. And I decide, I'm going to go into Closter, as Closter will definitely take an HP Ice. It is Scarfed, and I think I actually live a Psychic too. So it's not Psychic, it's Hidden Power. When I saw Hidden Power, I got excited, like, yes, HP Ice! And then it did a lot of damage, so that did the same amount of Psychic, therefore it must be HP Flying. So, cool. So here I don't have Icicle Spear, so obviously I'm just going to click Rock Blast, and Azumarill could come in with Azumarill or Forry. Either one could come in, but we are certainly, well, I believe I think about Ice Shard just on the off chance that he goes T-Wave, Prankster T-Wave, and I get full paired, but no, I'm just going to go Rock Blast, and does a decent chunk to Volcanion over there. It's clean to it KO. But around the time I'm thinking, you know what? I think this second one's gonna miss. I'm gonna click it anyway because it's the right play, but I think it's gonna miss. But I'm already at this point calcing, as it does indeed miss. I'm already calcing. As soon as I clicked the move, I switched over and started calcing. Alright, does Swellow Facade unboosted kill from there? And it does, especially based on how much the Rock Blast was able to do. It is, of course, based on that damage. I don't know if it would have died if it was max, or wasn't HP invested, but it would have gotten a lot closer than that. So I'm a little bit, because I think it might well somehow still survive a Facade from Swellow, but in the end we're going to go ahead and get Swellow in. This will allow Flame Orb to activate, and without having to use Protect and kill my momentum and all that stuff. So here comes the unboosted Facade, and I didn't think that the first KO Swellow was going to be an unboosted Facade, but it is. So just a regular 70 base power with no guts, no anything activated. Swellow's able to pick up the KO, and unfortunately I saw that Silvally was Rock type, so we are going to be probably seeing that, and I believe we also saw it had Parting Shot earlier, so it can definitely just come in and either multi-attack or Parting Shot. And I'll see what he wants to go for, as I do not have Steel Wing. I wouldn't go for it here anyway, because it only does maybe 50-ish% depending on his spread. I also don't have U-turn, but I do want to use Protect, which is weird that I kind of did it in the opposite order. I Facaded and then I Protected. Usually you do it the opposite order. That was just to get a little bit more poison damage on there. I don't know if he's going to have any form of recovery. If he doesn't, then I'd like to get it closer in range for Breloom Mach Punch. So that's what that was about. Burn Orb, Flame Orb. Burn only hurts me just a little bit, so I've got plenty of hits of that left. And here we're going to go into Reuniblob. And he's going to Parting Shot out into, I'm hoping not Bandit Azu, is kind of what I'm hoping. But he goes into this thing. So now I have no idea what this thing's going to be, but I believe we see here, We see here it's not leftovers, so that's gonna red flag to me. Uh-oh, I bet he's Aqua Berry, because I have Heat Wave on Swellow, and that could be bad, so... Right in my mind, I am this seems like it's going to be a pretty decent chance for me to attempt to, you know, I hit the reset button with Regenerator earlier, so we're going to attempt to start setting up with Reuniclus and try to pick up a 4-0 here, and we'll see how well that goes. This video, by the way, Camtasia is awful, and my computer is awful, and it's like skipping all over the place, but they'll follow it well enough. Anyway, so he's going to spin away spikes from the field, and that was kind of the turn. That was basically the turn that Klefki bought us there. Was a turn to set up an acid armor, and now I'm safe enough from a banded Azu knockoff, which is what I was mostly concerned with. That's why I went for it against the Volcanion, which seems rather stupid in retrospect. And here he's letting me set up, and in the course of the game, this confuses me greatly. Fridge logic, you'll see why he let me set up, but yeah. Anyway, so I'm just going to continue to set up, and he's going to set up spikes, going to set up Stealth Rock, and I'm just going to recover back to full. I am, of course, burned, so it's, you know, it's, burn goes after lefties, right? Yeah, burn goes after lefties, so I'm never going to be at full HP at the end of the turn. But he's not going to Volt Switch out and go Azumarill. No, he goes into this guy first. Goes back into Silvally Rock, and I'm just going to continue to set up Calm Minds. I believe I eventually get to +4 defense with 2 acid armors, and I think I get close to +4. Well, I think I use 4 Calm Minds, but because of the parting shots, you know, I think I may have actually in game not thought that he had parting shotted me twice. I think I only had 1 parting shot in memory, so that probably wouldn't have changed the play, but whatever. It's maybe going to be physical. I believe I checked to see how much a crunch would do. In case it was that. This thing, I don't think I've hit it yet, and nor has it hit me, so I have no idea what its offensive or defensive capabilities are as far as EV investment. So I'm just going to continue to set up, and I'm feeling okay right now, so because Reuniclus is setting up all over the thing, and yeah, so he Volt Switches again, or he does, right? Pretty sure he does. Goes into Sokka, which is one of Cooper's favorite characters from that show. And we got another Calm Mind up, and here I believe, do I go another Calm Mind or another... I believe I go another Calm Mind. What I should well do is click Psychic, but I don't. Because I am expecting... Or do I? I forget which I click. But anyway, I click something, and my mind is fixated on Bandit Azu because Bandit Player Up does a number to my team, and it's City's Drum, so that's not good. He has Citrus Drum, and we are going to Calm Mind, and I don't know if that's the right play or not, but so I calc this, and I am max bold Reuni with Adamant Drum Knockoff is a roll to KO from this range, and if it does, I believe that is probably the game, and we live on like 13. So it was definitely in my favor, the roll was, but I do go down to burn. It was in my favor, but it was still a roll, so it was like a gap of like 30 points of damage, because that's what happens when you have such large attack stats with huge power belly drums, so we definitely dodged a bullet right there. Granted, it was in my favor, but still dodged a bullet nonetheless. So yeah, Reuniclus' sweep was gone, and you'll see again still why the thing was the thing. So Zapdos is in here, and I believe I still, from that range of HP, can take a T-Bolt, so I finally get to T-Bolt a whole lot, so that makes me think he's kind of Spadef, but he is also poisoned, so there's that. So around here, well, if he's got multi-attack rock and outspeeds me, then Dose is kind of dead, so I'm just going to try to set up a sub, and turns out he does not outspeed me, and he does have rest, so, okay. I'm definitely going to pull a Roost here, as we see time is under 10 minutes, and we're at 3-3. I wonder what this might entail. So I'm going to Roost back up, get some life, and we're just going to see if he has Sleep Talk, and he actually does not have Sleep Talk. So I believe at this point we've seen 3 of the 4 moves. I don't know what his last move is. Or actually, we've only seen 2 moves. We've only seen Parting Shot and Rest. So I'm not actually sure if Parting Shot works against the sub. Off the top of my head. I probably checked it maybe in the game. So we see multi-attack, and that's going to be 1 multi-attack used. I am, of course, Pressure Dose, because, yeah, I actually have a nickname, so therefore I must be Pressure Dose, and it also announces pressure anyway, so we're going to keep track of multi-attack. I check and see how much PP does multi-attack have. It only has 10 base PP. That sounds like it's only going to be 8 PP versus Zapdos, so that's something to keep in mind and make a note of. So we're going to sub again. He is going to multi-attack again, which is going to be his second one that he has used. I believe I don't actually quite as diligently as I should keep track of PP here. As you can see, we're clicking moves relatively fast. We both see the timer is ticking down, so that's going to be a thing. But I believe I should be able to... Do I roost? I roost here. As he continues to multi-attack. As you can see, it would not have knocked me out from full, even if it was hitting super effective. And so yeah, so I sub again. Here, this is definitely a turn to sub. And he's at 4. He's at 4. So he's used half of them. Here's going to be the 5th one that gets used. And I believe I sub again. Now, last time I roosted at this HP. No, I roosted this HP again. I roosted this HP again as he continues to multi-attack. And now he has 2 uses of it left against Zapdos, and we can sub. And now I believe he has 1 left here, which I think is what I was thinking was the case during the game. So the last 2 times I roosted here. This time I decided to click sub, because I lose track, kind of, if he's used all the multi-attacks or not. I believe he had 1 left there, and he clicked Toxic, so that could have been really, really bad. But yeah, we're going to be able to roost, and as long as I can, since I'm outspeeding it, and Dose has, you know, sub to dodge the Toxic, yeah, he's got 1 multi-attack left, and that means that Silvally basically can't do anything to Zapdos, so... but here is why Reuniclus was not going to set up, because Forry had a red card. So, yeah, we got to get off a huge hit on it, but, whoops, Forry had a red card. So, yeah. Here, I want to click Heat Wave. But I decide if it misses, then I just lose. So I decide to be a wimp and protect, because the timer's ticking down, and I'm going to be capable of just winning on time 3-3, and he ended up to make that switch anyway, so that would not have mattered. So that was a safe play, and we are, of course, going to take it out. Of course, we're going to start out the season with a 3-3 timeout. No differential. That would move us to 1-0 at ±0 differential, so yeah. Oh, also, emote strip at the end. Yeah! Well, that ended about exactly the way some of you probably thought that it might end. So yeah, pick up the 3-3. If you guys don't know how the timeout rules work, you can see on the screen here, you can look up at the top, NCR total HP percentage. It does go percentage first, and then based on your raw HP. In this case, I had 2 pokes who were pretty much at full, and Swellow was about half after getting, red carded into rocks and everything, taking a little bit of burn. Meanwhile, he had an almost dead Forry, Thundurus about half, and Silvally, I believe, was still sitting at full. But you can see the overall percentages right there, and yeah, so that was the thing. Yeah, now obviously different plays may have been made as, in an untimed situation, but I feel like at least, once I subbed on the Toxic anyway, I feel like I probably had it anyway, as I'm pretty sure that Zapdos would have been able to clean up. Most of the guys left. Silvally actually was not getting 3-hit KO'd by Thunderbolt though, so I would have probably needed a crit at some point. And I don't know that I actually PP maxed Thunderbolt all the way. I think I only gave it 1 or 2. So that very well could have been a thing. But I feel like in an untimed scenario, I think I still had it. Maybe you guys disagree, but I feel like I feel like I possibly had it. So. Forry couldn't do much damage. Silvally was pretty much out of Rock Attack, and Thundurus was doing like 30% with the 1 move. So I think Zapdos probably had it stonewalled. I might have ended up to lose a poke in the process. I'm not entirely sure. Possible. But anyway, so that was the game. Yeah, it was a good game. Reuniclus did... Fringe logic on this game was so much. He actually ended up to have Haze on the Volcanion, despite it being spexed. So Reuniclus definitely was not working. He had Taunt on Thundurus, he had Haze on Volcanion, just said it. And he had red card on forward. So he had like 3 things to stop any kind of a setup, and that was just definitely not working. Yet, Reuniclus was still able to pick up a KO, so I guess, and kind of tank it out and prevent me from getting belly drum swept, which was a thing, so yeah, thankfully that was going to be the case. I think it may have actually been a roll on Psychic to kill, though granted, if at that point Psychic didn't kill, I did have Swellow with Quick Attack, which would have out-prioritized the Aqua Jet, so I still had that in my back pocket, but I also needed the roll to live with Reuni, so there was kind of that too. But yeah, we'll move on to Pokemon of the game really quick, and Zapdos, so whatever. No KOs, no deaths, but again, I think Zapdos probably had it in the bag at the end. It ends up to be a 3-3. Again, I feel like in untimed maybe it would have got down to a 2-0 at best. Maybe 3-0, but I doubt it. So, anyway, Zapdos was, yeah, once Black Kyurem went down, it was pretty great. And probably play of the game was when I subbed at like a weird time. I broke my pattern, and that allowed me to dodge Toxic from Silvally. I think based on the amount of time that was left, that may not have ended up to matter, but long term it would have mattered. So it would have made a difference for the long term game. If for some reason it was untimed. Whatever. Theirymon exists. Good game, Chimp. Glad to pick up a win. Go to 1-0 and no differential because that's how we like to do things. But next we can play Tom, and Tom versus Cooper, Utah versus San Jose. Usually is a pretty good time. No Aggron this time though, so there's no like fear in Tom's eyes. Last time I played Tom and didn't have Aggron, my roster was Season 2, so that's why I got his logo right there with Season 2 style, because throwback logos, yay. And see you guys next week for that. Later days.